Mom fell victim to an investment scam. Can you lend us $63,000?
Startled by my husband's urgent voice over the phone, I widened my eyes. I had never doubted my honest husband before. So when I replied with an enthusiastic okay and he hung up, I still harbored suspicions. After all, standing next to me was my stern-faced mother-in-law.
I haven't been involved in any investments.
She smirked at me. Little did I know that this innocent conversation would reveal my husband's shocking misdeeds. My name is Amy. I married Alex, who is 3 years older than me, when I was 25. We met through a friend's introduction, and as we went on several dates, I became more and more drawn to his kindness and intelligence. The turning point in our relationship was when Alex caught a shoplifter while we were shopping. His strong sense of justice made me like him even more. Our married life was blissful, and we managed to maintain a good distance from my nearby mother-in-law while living peacefully with my dependable husband. However, around our 3rd year of marriage, dark clouds began to gather over us. It happened one day. "Hey, why don't we go shopping together this weekend? We haven't been anywhere lately."
Oh. I'll be working this weekend too. You go enjoy it alone.
Again? You've been working overtime constantly. Are you okay?
Our company is going through tough times. We're facing many difficulties.
Alex sighed heavily when he returned home around midnight and locked himself in the room. Actually, during this time, Alex's overtime and business trips noticeably increased, leaving very little time for him to be at home. We only saw each other briefly in the morning and for about an hour late at night. Most weekends, he was out, and our communication as a couple naturally dwindled. According to Alex, the influx of temporary employees at work required him to teach them, keeping him extremely busy. Honestly, I felt like he was working too much, and I even thought he should say no to some tasks. But I knew better than anyone that he couldn't ignore someone in need. His sense of responsibility was strong. He must be working harder than I realized. Despite feeling a bit lonely and worrying about his well-being, I decided it was my duty as a wife to support Alex. So, without further interference, I resolved to cheer him on. Little did I know that an unexpected solution would address my own loneliness.
I received a large watermelon and came to share it with you. Amy, are you alone?
One evening, Cindy, my mother-in-law, visited our home. Unaware of my husband's busy schedule, she saw me eating dinner alone late at night and furrowed her brow with concern. As I explained the situation, Cindy took my hand, her eyes shining.
You must feel lonely by yourself, right? If Alex is working late, feel free to come over for dinner at my place.
I was taken aback by her words. You see, just before marrying my husband, I tragically lost both my parents in an accident.
Lean on me for anything.
Back then, Cindy had comforted me and invited me out shopping to lift my spirits. Looking back, she had always kept an eye on me, even from a distance. The wound from suddenly losing my parents hadn't fully healed even after 3 years. I believe that this time too, she was considerate of my feelings when making this suggestion. Thank you. Yes, please. I nodded in response to Cindy's kindness. Although I refrained from making it sound like a reproach, Alex remained unaware. I started having dinner with her regularly. While supporting Alex, I managed to live a fulfilling life without loneliness. However, Alex's busyness intensified. Over time, not only did his presence at home decrease, but his attitude also changed. Honey. How many business trips this month? You need to take a break. Otherwise, your health will suffer.
Ugh. Shut up. I intentionally take these trips. Being at home with you isn't enjoyable, and work is better.
That's awful. I'm doing my best to support you.
Sorry, but I can only speak the truth.
One morning, he shot me a disdainful look and hurried off to work. Left behind, I clenched my fists, feeling the ache in my chest. During this time, my once overflowing with kindness husband underwent a 180-degree change in how he treated me. His outings increased, and even when he finally returned home, he'd frown and avoid eye contact. If I pointed out anything, he'd throw hurtful words my way like,
I don't want to come home because your cooking is terrible.
or,
Your appearance has worsened.
why did he have to say such hurtful things? Initially, I thought it was due to his busy schedule, but there's a limit to how much I can endure. I'm working hard to support him too. Being constantly berated took a toll on me, and I didn't even realize it. Once again, it was my mother-in-law who noticed my state.
Lately, Alex hasn't been coming home much. And Amy, you seem a bit less energetic too.
During dinner at her house, she peered into my face with concern. Cindy, overflowing with kindness that stood in stark contrast to Alex, unwittingly drew me in. It seemed she cared about me more than my own husband did. And that realization was perhaps my downfall. Actually, recently, Alex's attitude has become somewhat cold. I confessed tearfully to Cindy. I had refrained from discussing it with her, thinking that no parent would enjoy hearing negative remarks about their child. But Cindy's kindness finally broke my resolve. Cindy, surprised yet supportive, listened silently as I poured out my heart.
Thank you for sharing.
But then her expression grew stern, and she seemed lost in thought. Just as I wondered if I had troubled her, she spoke in a low voice.
Maybe it's best to tell you about this.
She gazed at me with an intensity one hadn't seen before. And she slowly revealed a shocking truth about Alex. At that moment, Cindy's words hit me like a thunderbolt. Stunned by her bitter expression, I could only stand there, frozen. Because that story was something I found hard to believe. I can't believe that. Finally hearing the whole story, I instinctively covered my mouth with my hand. And at that moment, in my stunned silence, a phone call came through. When I checked, it was indeed from my husband, the very same one we had been discussing. After exchanging a glance with Cindy, I hesitantly pressed the answer button. And then,
Amy, it's urgent. Mom fell victim to an investment scam. Please, lend me the $63,000 from your parents' inheritance.
to my surprise, Alex's voice sounded desperate on the other end of the line. I quickly looked back at Cindy. Despite never doubting my husband's strong sense of justice, this time was different. Why? Because Cindy, standing right next to me, had shared a certain revelation about Alex. And in the next moment, she leaned in and whispered to me. That's quite a situation. Okay, understood. I nodded as Cindy suggested, and on the other end of the call, I heard a relieved voice.
Thank you. I'm saved. Really appreciate it.
Just to clarify, the bank won't be open until Monday. Is it acceptable to prepare cash 3 days later?
Yeah, that works. Mom will be happy too.
After Alex hung up, I felt my affection for him rapidly wane. My husband I thought was strong, responsible, and full of justice turned out to be a complete sham. This phone call had proven that.
I haven't been involved in any investments.
Cindy sighed, looking exasperated. But then she raised her thumb and gave me a sly smile.
Since Alex hurt you, let's turn the tables on him this time.
With a steely glint of anger in her eyes, Cindy's words left me nodding in agreement. And on Monday, it finally arrived. Alex must have been truly desperate. Despite rarely coming home on time, that day he rushed back in the evening.
I'm back. Amy, do you have the money ready?
Welcome home. If it's money you need, it's in this paper bag.
Thank you. I'll definitely pay you back.
Perhaps he was extremely anxious, as he snatched the paper bag from me without even listening to the full conversation. Throughout the weekend, he'd been restless and unsettled at home. Most likely, he eagerly awaited the moment when I would withdraw the substantial sum of $63,000. However, this money was a precious inheritance from my parents. No matter how much he was my husband, I couldn't simply hand over something so valuable.
Hey! What's this?
Soon enough, Alex's scream echoed through the living room. And from the paper bag he dropped, a cascade of newspaper scraps spilled out, not banknotes. As I maintained my silence, Alex glared at me with bloodshot eyes.
What the hell is this? Just worthless pieces of paper. Are you mocking me?
That's my line. It's obvious Cindy fell victim to an investment scam. It's a lie.
Huh? Mom is in debt and struggling. Even though we're family. Don't you want to help?
Desperately ranting, Alex's attempt to grab me made me burst into laughter. Unbeknownst to him, I knew about all his misdeeds. His attempt to appeal to my emotions was downright comical. Seeing me laugh, he reddened with anger.
What's so funny? Spit it out.
And just as he lunged toward me,
Who's struggling with debt?
the living room door swung open, revealing a furious Cindy. Alex's eyes widened in shock.
Mom! Why are you here?
You might not know this, but Cindy has been very kind to me. Even during that phone call, we were together. Ignoring Alex's stammering retreat, I exchanged a knowing glance with Cindy and grinned. A few days earlier, before that phone call from him, Cindy had revealed something to me. It turns out that Alex had a history of being an incorrigible liar. As a child, he deceived friends, stole comics and expensive toys, and in high school, he smoothly swindled money. There were even run-ins with the police, not just once or twice. Despite that, by the time he graduated from college, Alex seemed to have mellowed out. As a working adult, he hadn't caused any major problems, and Cindy believed his lying days were behind him. But hearing my account, she wondered if perhaps his bad habits hadn't truly disappeared.
After that phone call, I'm convinced my suspicions were correct. I asked Amy to help, and today, we're going to teach you a lesson.
I mean, it's not really a lie.
His bravado vanished, and Alex visibly flinched as I stepped closer. I even checked with your company. Your business trip was a lie, right? And I discreetly checked your phone too. Finally realizing he was caught, Alex's face turned pale. Unbeknownst to him, I'd thoroughly investigated him for days, determined to deliver consequences. First, I contacted his workplace to verify the business trip and overtime claims. It turned out he wasn't working. Far from it. Not only did he return home promptly, but there was no record of any temp worker either.
Why are you meddling like this?
Because you're the one lying, aren't you? By the way, I have detailed records of your interactions with that woman. With a firm voice, I brushed aside his feeble protests, and Alex began trembling. As it turns out, when I secretly checked his phone, I discovered extensive exchanges with a woman from a bar. Apparently, Alex had fallen for this young woman during a casual encounter. Their relationship took a dark turn, and he lavished her with gifts daily, resulting in a staggering debt of $63,000. His absence from home and relentless demands for money were all driven by his reckless spending on her. My mother-in-law exclaimed,
To think you'd squander Amy's precious inheritance like this. It's disgraceful.
She continued.
And you, Alex, sending threatening messages to colleagues and friends, extorting money. Despicable.
It was inconceivable that he could only speak the truth now. Alex's lack of self-control extended beyond his desires. He was willing to take not only my inheritance but also money from innocent people. All his misdeeds came to light, and the man I once loved had vanished completely. Yet, even at this point, Alex couldn't give up. He tearfully pleaded with me and Cindy.
I apologize for everything. Please help me just this once. I've fallen behind on repayments, and it's dire if things continue like this. I'm truly remorseful. Can you lend me money?
He clung to us, a shadow of the man I once loved. However, such deceitful words from him didn't resonate with me. Your apologies are probably just an act. Anyway, we're getting a divorce. From now on, stay out of our lives, I declared, breaking free from his grasp and leaving with Cindy. Subsequently, I divorced Alex and sought $13,000 in damages from both him and his affair partner. Alex's nightmare continued. Astonishingly, a colleague he had threatened reported him to their boss, resulting in Alex's dismissal. Estranged from Cindy as well, he found himself completely destitute, working odd jobs to make ends meet. On the other hand, I decided to start fresh and moved to a new place. While maintaining my connection with Cindy, I now embrace peaceful days. I plan to accumulate experiences and find my own happiness.
How did you find this story? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time.